Hey everyone, Luke Dog here, and welcome back to Dragon Age Inquisition. We're gonna probably be sticking around Haven for a bit. See if we can do anything here. Port to the Chantry. Varric saw enough red lyrium in Kirkwall for one lifetime. Now it's everywhere, and the worst of it sings like the shard that drove his brother mad. Varric would take no small pleasure in destroying those. Locate and destroy primeval red lyrium nodes. So there's 12 probably on the whole world. Haven once offered respite for pilgrims traveling to the Temple of Sacred Ashes, farther into the Frostback Mountains. In the wake of the temple's destruction, the storied village, which was also home to a dragon-worshipping cult during the Fifth Blight, now serves as a makeshift camp for those working to pick up the pieces. Some items in Covenant battle may later be worth studying. Give Minave an item to research. With the right materials, Haven's blacksmith can craft some pretty decent armor. Have some armor made. The blacksmith can also improve existing armor. Modify some armor. A recovered recipe can be used to mix a potion at a loadout station. There, the potion can also be equipped or replenished. Potion loadout stations are found in the Inquisition's base of operations or at any claimed camp. Visit a potion loadout station. The apothecary mentioned that his master, Tegan, was working on something special before he died at the Conclave. Find Tegan's notes. With the right materials found, weapons for the Inquisition can be requisitioned through the Quartermaster. I need 2 more iron and a logging station. Well, since we're here, see if we can craft anything. To craft new armor or weapons, you need a schematic and enough materials. The schematic determines the appearance and potential power of the crafted item. The materials determine the specific stats and power that will be added to the new item. What do I need? 7 metal, 4 metal. I don't have enough.
Now, don't you worry about that sort of thing.
Was it just modify something? Modify some armor. Upgrading an item adds the upgrade stats to the item's stats, in addition to changing its appearance. For example, attaching a hilt with a +3 cunning bonus to a sword adds the bonus to the sword. You can freely remove and add existing upgrades or exchange them between different items. New upgrades can be crafted in crafting stations. Requires level 6. I can't craft anything.
Another time, then.
Do I have an upgrade point? Yes, I do. You fight all the harder when you're hurting, gaining stamina when you lose health. Okay, we can't do that, so let's look around. Oh.
Do you think you can have it done by midweek?
That when Thren needs it.
Quartermaster Thren understands that your work can't be rushed, Master Harry.
Can I modify this? Yes!
Looks fine.
Yay, we got a quest done. See what's down here. Something back here. Forget we can jump now. Iron. Thanks, I need that. Nothing. Some more elf fruit. Lots of elf fruit over here. Brilliant staff. More elf fruit. They said this is common, they weren't kidding. And we got elf fruit? Yep. There you are. No. There you go. Got enough iron. When the compass pulses, press L3 to search. Searching indicates the direction of hidden objects with an additional pulse on the ground, and if you're close enough, reveals them.
There must be something here.
Hey, there are the notes. Is there anything else? Nope. Okay. More elf fruit. Is there anything else down this path? Don't think I've gone this way yet. Unless there's just circles around. And just pick you. Ooh. So can't go this way. Jump, jump, jump. Get my bearings of the land. Elf root. Yeah, getting more iron at least. Tick, 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 plop. The Penitent's Crossing. Pilgrims seeking to visit the Temple of Sacred Ashes are allowed to ride as far as the bridge known as Penitent's Crossing. Then, whether they be sick or healthy, young or aged, the pilgrims are expected to walk by the temple sisters who supervise the bridge. All but the very sick and old are asked to shed heavy coats as they cross the bridge, allowing the cutting winds to strip prideful fixation upon this world from the flesh. The bridge is also of significant military value, used especially for these purposes in the years since the Fifth Blight. As a choke point against bandits, rebels, or even darkspawn stragglers, the bridge serves as a defensible fortification to protect the Temple of Sacred Ashes from threats. From walking the chant by Sister Dorcas Guerin. She related to Arl Eamon? Oh, I just realized these are bodies. May you find peace by the Maker's side. Okay, let's head on back. Just roaming around Haven. Schematic for arming sword. Make that. Each crafting schematic has one or more slots. Each slot accepts a specific number of materials of either metal, cloth, or leather. Fill all available slots to craft an item. There are 5 different types of crafting slots: utility, offense, defense, damage, and armor. The type of slot determines the stat that will be generated from the material placed in it. For example, placing iron in a defense slot gives a bonus to melee defense, while putting it in a utility slot gives a bonus to strength. Equipment with different combinations of materials and slots to create. Experiment with different combinations of materials and slots to create unique items that fit your needs. Each crafting material has a predetermined stat value for each possible slot type, which you can view by examining the material. The final value of the stat coming from a slot is determined by multiplying this value by the number of materials placed in the slot. Oh boy. Give Onyx. Vigorous Defender Mail.
Right.
Okay, let's check my inventory then. Defense goes down. But I get more health. Oh yeah. I'm taking you.
We've gotten a new shipment. You'll have what you need.
Good. Your quartermaster's keeping this place running.
I'll pass on your thanks.
Need to find a logging cabin or something.
See reason, Lisette. We cannot stay here.
Why not?
Because we're Templars.
Money!
You're awfully quick to dismiss the people who saved your life, Matthew. Yes?
I'd like your take on the Templar Order.
It's a shadow of what it was. Where once we both protected all people from the dangers of magic, we now posture and grab at power. One day, I hope the circles are again sanctuaries where mages can practice their craft.
You're not going to rejoin the Order?
When the temple went up, your forces rescued those few of us still alive. My life is a debt I intend to repay, however I can.
Do you have any idea what caused the explosion?
No, I'm just a recruit. Belief and faith doesn't get you closer to the important meetings. Though that distance did save my life.
I will talk to you later.
Walk in the Maker's grace.
See you later. Iron. What is this? Guessing this is a Leave Haven. Nope, nope, nope. Yep, that's how to leave Haven. Elf root. I'm back.
Come to me, child, and I shall embrace you.
Anything new in here?
Lies eternal nothing.
Nothing.
Can you tell me a ring?
What's this blue dot? It's moving. What is that? Oh, nugs. Can I attack one of you? I was sure before the Blight they were a whole lot more rare. Should ask a warden about that, if killing archdemons leaves nugs all over. And the poor things don't seem built for anywhere. I mean, they feed on anything, but they blister in the desert and freeze in the snow, and they're easier to track than your own arse. Everything eats them, except me. The hands put me off. Yet they thrive. Randy bastards outpace every tooth and claw. Anyway, my point is, the ones around the farm are so inbred, they're 5 colors and can't stop peeing. I'm selling them in the capital as elusive eastern bunny pigs. What did Father say about idiots with deep pockets? Except from the private letters of Captain Bryn, lap nug dealer, produced in evidence after 7 claims of water terrors and death following blights in the Garden District, 936. Nugs.
We'll need...
Greetings.
What kind of person stays to run a shop at a time like this?
As I said, in for a copper, in for a sovereign. Or hopefully several.
You must speak with most everyone here. How are people doing?
Hope and fear in equal measure. No one really knows what it means when an Inquisition is called. Yet. I imagine it's no better for you. You've got my sympathies, for what it's worth.
Can I see what you have for sale?
Of course. My wares are at the table.
What do you got? You're soulless.
Maker, though the darkness comes upon me, I shall embrace the light.
You know Andraste's old Mabori? He don't show up in the chant. If you ask those holy sisters, well, they'll say Andraste can't have had some big old smelly war dog. But all Ferelden knows it right. Our sweet lady needed someone who would warm her feet at night. And there's Andraste's Mabori by the holy prophet's side. In the fight against Tevinter, that dog would never hide. They say the Maker sent him special, always loyal without pride, so he could be the sworn companion of the Maker's holy bride. Oh, that dog he guards Andraste without arrogance or fear, only asking of his mistress just a scratch behind the ears. But then old Mafrath gets to plotting, tries to lure that dog away, but even as they trap the prophet, her Mabari never strays. And there's Andraste's Mabari by the holy prophet's side. In the fight against Tevinter, that dog would never hide. They say the Maker sent him special, always loyal without pride, so he could be the sworn companion of the Maker's holy bride. Oh, they thought the wounds had killed him, but then he limped out toward the fire. In Hessarian, he shed a tear as that dog laid on the pyre. And there's Andraste's Mabari by the holy prophet's side. In the fight against Tevinter, that dog would never hide. They say the Maker sent him special, always loyal without pride, so he could be the sworn companion of the Maker's holy bride. Yes, that Mabari's the companion of the Maker's holy bride. A popular, if historically unlikely, Ferelden tavern song.
When will you be able to get us across?
Right, you need a logging stand.
When they're ready, piss off.
What do dwarves do when magic gets out of control?
Like the rest of you.
Even down to
Brent, I've never even seen horses. But dwarves don't have magic, so magic likely isn't a big problem.
Ah, Solus.
The chosen of Andraste, a blessed hero sent to save us all.
I didn't ask for this, but someone has to find a way to seal this breach.
Spoken nobly indeed. You think I'm mocking you? This age has made people cynical. I've journeyed deep into the Fade in ancient ruins and battlefields to see the dreams of lost civilizations. I've watched as hosts of spirits clash to reenact the bloody past in ancient wars, both famous and forgotten. Every great war has its heroes. I'm just curious what kind you'll be.
What do you mean ruins and battlefields?
Any building strong enough to withstand the rigors of time has a history. Every battlefield is steeped in death. Both attract spirits. They press against the veil, weakening the barrier between our worlds. When I dream in such places, I go deep into the Fade. I can find memories no other living being has ever seen.
You fall asleep in the middle of ancient ruins. Isn't that dangerous?
I do set wards. And if you leave food out for the giant spiders, they are usually content to live and let live.
I've never heard of anyone going so far into the Fade. That's extraordinary.
Thank you. It's not a common field of study for obvious reasons. Not so flashy as throwing fire or lightning. The thrill of finding remnants of a 1,000-year-old dream? I would not trade it for anything. I will stay then. At least until the breach has been closed.
Was that in doubt?
I am an apostate surrounded by Chantry forces in the middle of a mage rebellion. Cassandra has been accommodating. But you understand my caution.
Cassandra trusts you. She won't let anyone put you into a circle against your will.
Thank you. I appreciate the thought. But now let us hope either the mages or the Templars have the power to seal the breach.
Can I still talk to you?
Closing the breach is our primary goal. But I hope we might also discover what was used to create it. Any artifact of such power is dangerous. The destruction of the Conclave proves that much.
You don't think whatever created the explosion was destroyed in the blast?
You survived, did you not? The artifact that created the breach is unlike anything seen in this age. I will not believe it destroyed until I see the shattered fragments with my own eyes.
We would do well to try to recover whatever created the breach.
Liliana's people have scoured the area near the blast and found nothing. Whatever the artifact was, it is no longer there. In any case, did you need me for anything?
What do you know about the Fade?
A great deal, from my wanderings. There are few hard facts, but I can share what I have learned.
I'd like to know more about the breach.
Simply put, it is a tear in the veil between this world and the Fade, allowing spirits to enter the world physically. Small tears occur naturally when magic weakens the veil, or when spirits cluster at an area that has seen many deaths. But your mark allows you to exert some control over the breach. That means it was created deliberately.
I'd like to know more about the veil.
Circle mages call it a barrier between this world and the Fade. But according to my studies in ancient elven lore, that is a vast oversimplification. Without it, imagine if spirits entered freely. The Fade was not a place one went, but a state of nature like the wind.
I don't know if I can imagine that.
Try. Imagine if spirits were not a rarity, but a part of our natural world. Like a fast-flowing river. Yes, it can drown careless children, but it can also carry a merchant's goods or grind a miller's flour. That is what the world could be if the veil were not present. For better or worse.
I'd like to know more about demons.
The Chantry says that demons hate the natural world and seek to bring their chaos and destruction to the living. But such simplistic labels misconstrue their motivations, and in so doing, do all a great disservice. Spirits wish to join the living, and a demon is that wish gone wrong.
Is there a way to coexist? To live with them, if not in peace, at least without such active confrontation?
Not in the world we know today. The veil creates a barrier that makes true understanding most unlikely. But the question is a good one, and it matters that you thought to ask.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye. Greetings.
I'd like to know more about you, Solus.
Why?
You're an apostate, yet you risked your freedom to help the Inquisition.
Not the wisest course of action when framed that way.
I appreciate the work you're doing, Solus. I just wanted to know more about you.
I'm sorry. With so much fear in the air. What would you know of me?
What made you start studying the Fade?
I grew up in a village to the north. There was little to interest a young man, especially one gifted with magic. But as I slept, spirits of the Fade showed me glimpses of wonders I had never imagined. I treasured my dreams. Being awake, out of the Fade, became troublesome.
Did spirits try to tempt you?
No more than a brightly colored fruit is deliberately tempting you to eat it. I learned how to defend myself from more aggressive spirits and how to interact safely with the rest. I learned how to control my dreams with full consciousness. There was so much I wanted to explore.
I gather you didn't spend your entire life dreaming.
No. Eventually, I was unable to find new areas in the Fade.
Why?
2 reasons. First, the Fade reflects the world around it. Unless I traveled, I would never find anything new. Second, the Fade reflects and is limited by our imaginations. To find interesting areas, one must be interested.
Is this why you joined the Inquisition?
I joined the Inquisition because we were all in terrible danger. If our enemies destroyed the world, I would have nowhere to lay my head while dreaming of the Fade.
I wish you luck.
Thank you. In truth, I've enjoyed experiencing more of life to find more of the Fade.
How so?
You strengthen your body to deliver and withstand punishment. The muscles are an enjoyable side benefit. You have chosen a path whose steps you do not dislike because it leads to a destination you enjoy. As have I.
You said you'd traveled to many different places.
This world, or its memory, is reflected in the Fade. Dream in ancient ruins, and you may see a city lost to history. Some of my fondest memories were found in crumbling cities, long picked dry by treasure seekers, the best of the battlefields. Spirits press so tightly on the veil that you can slip across with but a thought.
Any place in particular?
I dreamt at Ostagar. I witnessed the brutality of the Darkspawn and the valor of the Ferelden warriors. I saw Alistair and the hero Ferelden light the signal fire, and Logain's infamous betrayal of Kaelin's forces.
I've heard the stories. It would be interesting to hear what it was really like.
That's just it. In the Fade, I see reflections created by spirits who react to the emotions of the warriors. One moment, I see heroic wardens lighting the fire and a power-mad villain sneering as he lets King Kaelin fall. The next, I see an army overwhelmed and a veteran commander refusing to let more soldiers die in a lost cause.
And you can't tell which is real.
It is the Fade. They are all real.
Have you always traveled and studied alone?
Not at all. I have built many lasting friendships. Spirits of wisdom, possessed of ancient knowledge, happy to share what they had seen. Spirits of purpose helped me search. Even wisps, curious and playful, would point out treasures I might have missed.
I don't know of any spirits by those names.
They rarely seek this world. When they do, their natures do not often survive exposure to the people they encounter. Wisdom and purpose are too easily twisted to pride and desire.
You're saying that you became friends with pride and desire demons?
They were not demons for me.
Meaning?
The Fade reflects the minds of the living. If you expect a spirit of wisdom to be a pride demon, it will adapt. And if your mind is free of corrupting influences, if you understand the nature of the spirit, they can be fast friends.
I'm impressed that you could become friends with spirits.
Anyone who can dream has the potential. Few ever try. My friends comforted me in grief and shared my joy. Yet, because they exist without form, as we understand it, the Chantry declares that spirits are not truly people. Is Cassandra defined by her cheekbones and not her faith? Varric by his chest hair and not his wit?
Spirits are bound by their nature. You said it yourself. They're shaped by contact with real people.
Just as Liliana was shaped by contact with divine Justinian. As those who serve the Inquisition are shaped by you. If I change your mind in this conversation, does that mean you're no more real than a spirit?
You've thought about this.
On occasion, yes.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye. What can I do for you?
Never mind.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Interesting things to ponder. Find recipes through exploration or by visiting merchants. Visit an apothecary with the herbs you gather in the wilderness to upgrade potions. Use the equip station to assign different potions to each of your party members and to replenish the potions you are carrying. Use the upgrade station to unlock permanent upgrades to your potions. You can upgrade potions you have already unlocked. To upgrade a potion, select a category, select a potion, then select the upgrade. Potion upgrades require a significant amount of herbs to unlock. In return, they give permanent and significant bonuses to your potions. I need a Dawn Lotus. And a Royal Elf Root.
Sacred. You're back. And in one piece.
You said you thought Master Tejan was working on something special. If it helps, I found his notes.
The old codger was on the edge of a breakthrough here, but he couldn't see it. You want some of these mixed up? You just give the word.
Lyrium potion recipe.
How do I go about having potions made?
Just take a look there and tell me what you'd like. Find a recipe for something better, I can make that too.
You can equip or replenish potions for each party member. Healing potions at the top of the radial menu are replenished for free automatically, but all other potions require herbs for replenishing. Use L to select the potion you want. Press X to confirm. Type in number of herbs needed to replenish. Up here on the left. To replenish potions, you must have enough herbs of the appropriate type.
Perhaps another time.
Solus, you're gonna get lyrium.
Perhaps another time.
Okay, what else we got? Give Maeve an item to research, and I need to find a logging stand. Elf root. Elf root. Oh. There's apparently a logging stand way out there.
Greetings, Herald of Andraste.
Let's go to it then. Hi, elf root. Ah, dang it. I gotta go around. Not really leaving footprints. Collect as much elf fruit as I can. See some iron over here. Nugs. Oh no, those aren't nugs. Come back. You're trapped now. Wrong button. I want your codex entry. Right. Let's get that logging stand. I wish I had a bow. What are you? You're not hurting me, but I'm hurting you. This is gonna take a while. On, armor's almost gone. Now it's gone. Do 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 do. Just want your entry. Come on. You just die already. Oh, come on. No, back off. Ruffalo. They said the mages were coming to Redcliffe. We had to leave or be caught in the middle of their war. Guys said that it would be safe in Denerim. We left as soon as we could, but the little ones could barely walk a mile. I was about turned back when Guy saw a herd of wild Druffalo passing through the hills. He said, "How different can they be from horses or Brontos? Oh, but those horns." I was afraid and told Guy not to go, but he said we had no choice. think it's supposed to be pronounced Guy, since he's probably from Orlais and it's French. Guy said he would catch up to us, that we should continue on. We kissed goodbye, and he left. The children and I kept walking. 1 day passed. 2. Then 3. And I knew in my heart he was dead. I almost gave up. One morning, I was fetching water from the river when I thought, how easy it would be. They would just slip away, and I would just follow them. No more pain. No more fear. As I searched for my courage, I heard a crashing through the undergrowth. Bandits, I thought, or a bear. But instead, it was a giant beast with pelt of blue-gray and gleaming black horns, and riding its muscled back was my Guy. The Druffalo was enormous but gentle as a doe. The children called her Bluebell. I never told them what I almost came to that day. A diary found in a refugee tent in the hinterlands. When first I summoned her, she was a rose, unwithered, unchanging, and unthorned, a spirit of the purest love one knows, who never hated, coveted, or scorned. A second time I drew her across the vale, and shared a walk, a dance, a stolen kiss. With such a perfect beauty, pure and pale, no woman could compare, no man resist. Then in my weakness I essayed a third, though magisters their warnings did impart. She broke my binding with a single word, and said this smiling as she clutched my heart. Though love I was, your passion's changing fire has forged the spirit into cruel desire. Sonnet 126, The Lover and His Spirit, from A Chant for Dreamers by Magister Horatius. All that for a Druffalo. Okay, logging station. That's why we came here. You... I wish I had a bow. Yay! Now let's go get that requisition. Yes, going to town. Oh, come on! Darn disappearing goat thing. Pick up some iron while I'm here. Okay. Hey, Varric. Got that requisition for you.
Do you think the mages will be...
Our soldiers acquire additional weapons if they are to be effective. +1 power.
Nice work with those supplies. The smiths can use them to fit our troops with better gear. Might not affect you much, but our recruits will have better chances next time some monster flies out of a rift.
If I have material for a special order, do I bring it to you?
Just take it over there. One of my boys will take the materials or jot down what you found.
Farewell.
Make her go with you.
Anything else? Nope.
Thanks for checking anyway.
Report to the chantry. That's all we have at the moment. Okie dokie then. Knock knock. I'm probably going to assume that a big difference with the PlayStation 3 version is the loading time.
Does it trouble you?
I just wish I knew what it was, or how I got it.
We will find out. What's important is that your mark is now stable, as is the breach. You've given us time, and Solas believes a second attempt might succeed, provided the mark has more power. The same level of power used to open the breach in the first place. That is not easy to come by.
Couldn't that kind of power just make things worse?
And people call me a pessimist. May I present Commander Cullen, leader of the Inquisition's forces.
Such as they are. We lost many soldiers in the valley, and I fear many more before this is through.
This is Lady Josephine Montelier, our ambassador and chief diplomat.
I've heard much. It's a pleasure to meet you at last.
And of course, you know Sister Liliana.
My position here involves a degree of...
She is our spy master.
Yes, tactfully put, Cassandra.
Pleased to meet you all.
I mentioned that your mark needs more power to close the breach for good.
Which means we must approach the rebel mages for help.
And I still disagree. The Templars could serve just as well.
We need power, Commander. Enough magic poured into that mark.
Might destroy us all. Templars could suppress the breach, weaken it, so...
Pure speculation.
I was a Templar. I know what they're capable of.
Unfortunately, neither group will even speak to us yet. The Chantry has denounced the Inquisition, and you specifically.
They still think I'm guilty.
That is not the entirety of it any longer. Some are calling you the Herald of Andraste, and that frightens the Chantry. The remaining clerics have declared it blasphemy, and we, heretics, for harboring you.
Chancellor Roderick's doing, no doubt.
It limits our options. Approaching the mages or Templars for help is currently out of the question.
Just how am I the Herald of Andraste?
People saw what you did at the temple, how you stopped the breach from growing. They have also heard about the woman seen in the rift when we first found you. They believe that was Andraste.
Even if we tried to stop that view from spreading...
Which we have not.
The point is, everyone is talking about you.
It's quite the title, isn't it? How do you feel about that?
It's a little unsettling.
I'm sure the Chantry would agree.
People are desperate for a sign of hope. For some, you're that sign. And to others, a symbol of everything that's gone wrong.
So if I wasn't with the Inquisition...
Well, let's be honest, they would have censored us no matter what.
And you not being here isn't an option.
There is something you can do. A Chantry cleric by the name of Mother Giselle has asked to speak to you. She is not far, and knows those involved far better than I. Her assistance could be invaluable.
I'll see what she has to say.
You will find Mother Giselle tending to the wounded in the hinterlands near Redcliffe.
Look for other opportunities to expand the Inquisition's influence while you're there.
We need agents to extend our reach beyond this valley, and you're better suited than anyone to recruit them.
In the meantime, let's think of other options. I won't leave this all to the Herald.
The war table allows you to apply the power of the Inquisition throughout Orlais and Ferelden. Mother Giselle is in the hinterlands, which can be found on the Ferelden side of the table. Conquered by Orlais, torn by civil war, ravaged by the Fifth Blight.
Still comb the hills for clues about the explosion. I'll take what I can find.
Ferelden is no stranger to hardship. With the Veil weakened, the land is more turbulent than ever. Known for its culture of extravagant nobility, yet also as the birthplace of the Chantry, Orlais is the most powerful human nation in Thedas. The Inquisition can unlock new areas for you to explore through scouting operations. Perform the scouting operation for the hinterlands on the Ferelden side of the war table now. Mother Giselle was last seen on the hinterlands outside Redcliffe, tending refugees who fled the fighting between the renegade Templars and apostate mages. The latest reports suggest that the vicious struggle between the two groups has spread to the hinterlands, catching the refugees and Mother Giselle in the middle. It is vital to protect her, and if possible, restore order to the area. If Giselle dies, any hope of the Chantry support dies with her. My scouts will slip past the fighting, find her, and protect her with their lives. We avoided the fighting as best we could. It's every bit as bad as we feared. The apostates are mad, attacking anything that moves, and it appears that the Templars here aren't following anyone's orders any longer. We located Mother Giselle and are trying to protect her, but she refuses to leave the refugees until we've ensured their safety. That will be hard to do without troops to push the apostates and the Templars out of the area. Commander Cullen asked me to make inquiries of Master Dennett, a retired horseman of Redcliffe, who lives in the area. We tried to contact him about obtaining better horses for the Inquisition, but we've been unable to get through the fighting. Lead Scout Harding. Not yet. You now have access to missions. Mission operations take time and bring the Inquisition resources and rewards. Only one mission per advisor can be active at a time. Some missions have a preferred type, which results in less time required when undertaken by the associated advisor. Missions may also provide different rewards depending on which advisor completes them. To whom it concerns, the Tyranny of Highever wishes to convey our deepest sympathies on the death of Divine Justinian V. The Most Holy was incomparable in her wisdom and dedication to peace, and we had high hopes that our conclave would succeed. We would hold a vigil in Highever in remembrance of Justinia, and cordially invite the Inquisition to attend. Sincerely, Tyrn Fergus Cousland. Hey, big brother! I know Tyrn Cousland, and I knew Justinia. I can't attend, but I could write to him. We should send a diplomatic attaché and some of the Templars who knew the Divine. We have a number of Ferelden officers. We could send an honor guard to Highever. Go ahead, Cullen.
All right.
Herald, your Inquisition says it's for order against chaos, reason and darkness. If you stand by this, come forth and drive the heretics from my lands. They claim to be refugees, but I have seen elves and apostates among them. Filthy savages, tearing at our roots. Our monarch refuses to send forth armies, and my own knights were decimated at the conclave. I require your aid in returning peace to my lands. Prove your loyalty, and I will see you richly rewarded for your faith. Praise the light. Lord Kildarn of Ferelden. We can take advantage of his raving. My spies can harass the refugees into moving somewhere else to win Lord Kildarn's favor. Ah yes, Lord Kildarn, a pariah even among his peers. Listen to political refusal and nothing more.
Let's see what we have.
Those from Inquisition diplomat to Ambassador Montilier. Dear Lady Montilier, it is true, distant relations of the House Trevelyan are claiming closer friendship with the Herald of Andraste. A boast is one matter, but the boundaries of tact and decency appear to be invisible to these mountebanks. During a ball in the South Quarter, I witnessed a cousin 5 times removed from Lord Trevelyan threaten to have the Inquisition fight his rival. He quickly left the party after I made my connection with the Inquisition clear, but the problem stands. We must deal with the Herald's relatives taking his name in vain. Lady Buttleford. This sort of thing is inevitable. Your relations may become much more circumspect if we promise them future favors.
Let us begin.
Okay, we can't send anyone at the moment because everyone's busy. Talk to you later, everybody. Activate quest by accessing your quest journal. Holy smokes, we got a whole thing. In the hero menu by pressing triangle, your active quest. When not in a dungeon, you can use the quest map to travel to distant locations. Press start, select the map, in the hero menu. Press triangle from the quest map to access the world and travel to unlocked locations. Well, we just got a whole bunch of codex stuff. Whatever you have heard of Kirkwall's rebellion, the truth is far worse. I would spare you that. The remains of Kirkwall's Templars have been under my command for the past few years. We have done what we could to assist with the city's recovery, to restore some semblance of order, but my time here is done. Seeker Pentagast has approached me. She wishes to stop the war between Mages and Templars. She has been recruiting men and women to the cause and wishes me to oversee the group's military concerns. If the conclave goes well, then we will not be needed. If not, we stand ready. I have decided to take Seeker Pentagast's offer. The circles have fallen. I can give no more to the Templar Order, nor it to me. The Maker has shown me a new path. I must take it. Except from a letter sent to Southreach by Commander Cullen. Seeker Cassandra. Josephine Montilier is a noble from the nation of Antiva. She was educated in Val Royeaux, where she built connections among the court. Once she finished her schooling, at a surprisingly young age, Lady Montilier became the official diplomat between King Fulgino of Antiva to Empress Celine of Orlais. The appointment suits her. She's well-traveled, familiar with many forms of etiquette, and by all accounts a skilled negotiator. If that endorsement does not suffice, Josephine is a personal friend. I have faith in her. We require someone both influential and trustworthy to be an ambassador for the Inquisition. You cannot tell me you would prefer to take the job yourself. Sister Liliana. She has many names. Most know her as Sister Liliana, or the Nightingale. Some refuse to speak her name at all, referring to her only as the left hand of the Divine, the shadow behind the sunburst throne. The spy master Marjolaine trained Liliana from a young age. For years, Liliana was Marjolaine's instrument in the great game of Orlais. While Liliana was devoted to Marjolaine, the reverse was not true. Marjolaine betrayed Liliana and almost succeeded in killing her. Liliana survived the betrayal, thanks to Reverend Mother Dorothea. Following this betrayal, Liliana spent several years in a cloister in Ferelden, hiding from her past. Inspired by Reverend Mother Dorothea, Liliana dedicated herself to her faith, discovering peace in a simple life of devotion. But when the Fifth Blight began, she received what she believed a vision from the Maker. This prompted her to leave her sanctuary, taking up arms against the Darkspawn. Several years after the defeat of the Archdemon, Liliana received a summons from Dorothea, now Divine Justinia V. She returned to Orlais to become an agent of the Sunburst throne. Justinia perished in the explosion that destroyed the Divine Conclave, and Liliana became a founding member and spymaster of the new Inquisition. Whereas the Circle was established not merely to protect the world from mages, but also to allow mages to practice their art safely and without fear, and, whereas under Lord Seeker Lambert's command, the Templars swore to protect all people, including mages, from the harmful effects of magic, have instead persecuted mages with such biased judgment as to worsen the problem they were meant to mitigate. And whereas the Rite of Tranquility, intended as a tool of last resort to stop uncontrolled mages from hurting themselves or others, has instead been used for punitive and political purposes to silence dissent and inhibit civilized discourse. And whereas Andraste herself intended the relationship between mage and Templar to be one of practitioner and protector, not prisoner and jailer, and this contract has been broken, leaving mages in fear for their lives from those sworn to protect them. Now, therefore, the Circle of Magi declares the following. We, the mages of Ferelden and Orlais, do hereby dissolve the circles and renounce our sworn submission to the Order of the Templars, effective immediately. We reiterate Andraste's assertion that magic was made to serve man, not rule over him, and state unequivocally that we will use our abilities only to defend ourselves from those who would see us relinquish our lives and freedoms under the presumption of guilt for crimes we have not committed. We condemn those practitioners of magic who, through illness of mind or understandable but misguided anger at those who oppress them, would use their maker-given powers to threaten innocent lives, and we pledge to aid any legitimate and impartial government in bringing these lawless apostates to justice. We look earnestly to a future of cooperation between all peoples of Thedas, free from persecution and prejudice, and hope to build a better world alongside all who approach us with friendship instead of fear. Yours in service to Andraste and the Maker, the Free Mages of Thedas. A leaflet distributed in towns and villages across Orlais and Ferelden. Most Holy, the Seekers are well aware of the part you played in the rebellion. You called me to the Grand Cathedral in the middle of the night on urgent business only to speak of trivial matters, and then when I returned to the White Spire, I discovered chaos and one of your agents in the midst of the apostates. Did you think I would not notice? Did you believe yourself above repercussions for such acts? It was a dark day when the Chantry placed such an incapable woman upon the Sunburst throne. I will not stand idle and watch you destroy what ages of tradition and righteousness have built. In the 20th year of the Divine Age, the Navaran Accord was signed. The Seekers of Truth lowered our banner and agreed to serve as the Chantry's right hand, and together we created the Circle of Magi. And with the Circle no more, I hereby declare the Accord null and void. Neither the Seekers of Truth nor the Templar Order recognize Chantry authority, and instead we will perform the Maker's work as it was meant to be done, as we see fit. Signed this day on the 40th year of the Dragon Age, Lord Seeker Lambert Van Reeves. Letter sent to Divine Justinia from the former Lord Seeker. Often portrayed as stoic and grim, the Order of Templars was created as the martial arm of the Chantry. Armed with the ability to dispel and resist magic in addition to their formidable combat talents, Templars are uniquely qualified to act as both a foil for apostates, mages who refuse to submit to the authority of the Circle, and a first line of defense against the dark powers of blood mages and abominations. While mages often resent the Templars as symbols of the Chantry's control over magic, the people of Thedas see them as saviors and holy warriors, champions of all that is good, armed with piety enough to protect the world from the ravages of foul magic. In reality, the Chantry's militant arm looks first for skilled warriors with unshakable faith in the Maker, with a flawless moral center as a secondary concern. Templars must carry out their duty with an emotional distance, and the Order of Templars prefers soldiers with religious fervor and absolute loyalty over paragons of virtue who might question orders when it comes time to make difficult choices. The Templars' power derives from the substance lyrium, a mineral believed to be the raw element of creation. While mages use lyrium in their arcane spells and rituals, Templars ingest the primordial mineral to enhance their abilities to resist and dispel magic. Lyrium use is regulated by the Chantry, but some Templars suffer from lyrium addiction, the effects of which include paranoia, obsession, and dementia. Templars knowingly submit themselves to this treatment in the service of the Order and the Maker. It is this sense of ruthless piety that most frightens mages when they draw the Templars' attention. When the Templars are sent to eliminate a possible blood mage, there's no reasoning with them, and if the Templars are prepared, the mage's magic is all but useless. Driven by their faith, the Templars are one of the most feared and respected forces in Thedas. From Patterns Within Form by Halden, First Enchanter of Starkhaven, 880 Blessed. I think I read this already. My Lord Earl Tegan, I retired to the hinterlands for peace and quiet away from the politics, and because the wide open spaces were perfect to let my horses run. Instead, the war between the mages and the Templars has turned your beautiful hills into a series of burning battlefields. The farmers who live in the hinterlands are good folk. Many of them left Redcliffe Village because they couldn't bear to be there anymore, not after the Blight and the Walking Dead left so many bad memories. Now we've got apostates running around setting fire to anyone who looks at them sideways, and Templars looting houses and cutting down those who protest as mage sympathizers. My wife Elena set off our field hands to stay with her family in the east, but there are a lot of poor people here with nowhere to go. We get more refugees every day. This village attacked by mad mages or the farmstead burned to the ground by Templars who can't tell a hoe from a staff. I think one of my missions just finished. I suppose you're stretched thin, but anything you can do to lessen the burden of these poor folk would be much appreciated. I'll do as I can, and if your men need better mounts, say the word. Best of luck to you, my lord. Remember, not to let Duchess puff out her gut when you saddle her. Yours in service, Dennett. A letter from Redcliffe's former horsemaster to Arl Tegan of Redcliffe, undelivered. Resources found here. Elfroot, Spindleweed, Blood Lotus, Crystal Grace, Royal Elfroot, Deep Mushroom, Embryum, Iron, Drakestone, Onyx, Obsidian.
The Inquisition cannot remain, Ambassador, if you can't prove it was founded on Justinian's orders.
This is an inopportune time, Marquis. More of the faithful flock here each day. But allow me to introduce you to the brave soul who risked his life to slow the magic of the breach. Sir Trevelyan, may I present the Marquis d'Aurelion, one of Divine Justinia's greatest supporters.
And the rightful owner of Haven. House d'Aurelion lent Justinia these lands for pilgrimage. This Inquisition is not a beneficiary of this arrangement.
Hi, I'm named Trevelyan. Please excuse the blood. I didn't realize we had company.
This is the first I've heard of Haven having an owner outside the Chantry.
My wife, Lady Machin of Denham, has claimed to Haven by ancient treaty with the monarchs of Ferelden. We were honored to lend its use to Divine Justinia. She was a woman of supreme merit. I will not let an upstart order remain on her holy grounds.
People have been injured. You can't just turn them out onto the snow.
And who benefits if they stay?
Divine Justinia, Marquis. The Inquisition, not the Chantry, is sheltering the pilgrims who mourn her.
Why is the Chantry ignoring the faithful?
Because it remains in shock. We face a dark time, Your Grace. Divine Justinia would not want her passing to divide us. She would, in fact, trust us to forge new alliances to the benefit of all, no matter how strange they might seem.
I'll think on it, Lady Montillier. The Inquisition might stay in the meanwhile.
Do the Durelians actually have a claim on this place?
His Grace's position is not so strong as he presents it. Despite our Ferelden relations, the Durelions are our legion. If the Marquis wishes to claim Haven, Empress Selene must negotiate with the Ferelden on his behalf. Her current concerns are a bit larger than minor property disputes.
I apologize for the intrusion. I didn't realize you were meeting with the Marquis.
You did little harm. In truth, the debate was most beneficial as practice for those to come.
You expect more people in Haven?
Undoubtedly. And each visitor will spread the story of the Inquisition after they depart. An ambassador should ensure the tale is as complimentary as possible.
May I ask what brought you to work for the Inquisition?
Sister Leliana approached me. We've been acquainted for quite some time. For better or worse, being the Inquisition's diplomat has become as interesting as she promised.
What sort of dealings have you had with nobility?
For some years, I was the royally appointed court ambassador from Antiva to Orlais. The nobility of Thedas is a rather singular sphere. Those I'm not acquainted with, I know through reputation.
The Inquisition is lucky to have you as an advocate, Lady Montilier.
Thank you. Let us hope so. Thedas' politics have become agitated as of late. I hope to guide us down smoother paths. But please excuse me. I've much work to do before the day is done. Greetings.
Tell me how you came to work for the Inquisition again.
I'd been considering leaving my post in Antiva for a new challenge when Leliana recruited me. There's such unrest in Thedas, and the Inquisition seems a promising method to stop it. It's to everyone's benefit if we prevent the Mage-Templar conflict from spreading further.
So, was it the prospect of stability that drew you here?
The full impact of the Mage Rebellion has yet to be felt, and that was before the death of the Divine. The violence must be curbed before we see it turn to full-scale war.
I can only imagine the bloodshed if it escalates further.
I'm afraid history holds many examples of what will happen if it does.
How do you and Liliana know each other?
We moved through similar circles in Orlais. I believe we actually met in Val Royeaux. Leliana was quite an accomplished player of the game by then.
What exactly do you mean when you say, the game?
Forgive me. The game refers to the slow duels of influence among the noble and powerful of Orlais. It's a rather light-hearted name for the matter, but our legions are fond of playful touches.
What exactly does your job entail?
I meet with ambassadors from various factions and countries, and cement alliances with them. We are a young cause. Diplomacy is essential to our credibility.
Then you speak for the Inquisition with these nobles?
I do. Someone must foster goodwill on our behalf, as well as prevent controversy as news of us spreads.
How heavily are our actions scrutinized?
Make no mistake. Every noble house, every throne, is waiting to see what the Inquisition does next. Many are willing to pledge support, if offers are made in just the right fashion. I intend to see that they are.
I'd swear our families have met before.
Perhaps. Everyone of distinction in the Free Marches attends Lady Trevelyan's summer balls.
Great Aunt Lucille always did love a party.
I don't recall seeing you at any of them.
Attend one ball and you'll fend off invites for a dozen more.
That reminds me. The Herald of Andraste has received several invitations from the curious.
To parties? How many am I getting?
Only 17 this month, I'm afraid.
This month?
What business are the Monteliers in, exactly?
We began as merchants. My ancestors founded the first trade routes to Rivain. We once sent entire fleets across the Waking Sea.
But not anymore?
No. These days, our vessels are a touch more modest.
What did you do before coming here?
I had the great honor of serving Antiva's crown as ambassador to Orlais. I'm also first in line to become the head of House Montelier, though my siblings attend to our mercantile affairs.
How strong are your past loyalties?
I would never have given up my position if I did not intend to fully commit to the Inquisition. We cannot fall back on borders. Antiva is as threatened as any country by the rebellions. If anything, the alliances I forged there may help our current cause.
Do you think the Inquisition will continue after we seal the breach?
If we prove ourselves by healing the breach, people may turn to us for other things. Protection, counsel, justice. The Inquisition offered these once to those in need.
Tell me, do you believe I was saved by Andraste at the Temple of Sacred Ashes?
I should much like to believe so, Your Worship. The miracles Andraste performed were so long ago, they're difficult to picture. If it were truly her and the Fate who saved you, well, in any case, many already believe you walk in the Maker's light.
Let's speak later.
Goodbye.
Inquisition soldiers are missing in the uncharted marches of southern Ferelden. Go to the war table to locate the soldiers. I need more power, though.
You're the Herald. Or, well, the one they're calling the Herald, anyway. I hope the Inquisition can restore order soon. I never really wanted to leave the Circle. My name is Maeve. I research demons and other creatures. Seeker Pentagast and I use what I find to help the soldiers fight them.
You said you were a mage?
No, just an apprentice. I was never very good at magic. I've got just enough talent to be a danger to other people. But when the mages rebelled, people like me had nowhere to go. The Templars would have killed us. Luckily, Seeker Pentagast took me in, along with the Tranquil I was protecting.
You said Cassandra has you researching creatures.
Yes. If you find anything interesting in your travels, I'd appreciate you bringing it to me. I may be able to find some weakness our soldiers can exploit when fighting various creatures. At the least, some materials are useful for making potions or gear for the Inquisition.
I'm surprised that even an apprentice mage wouldn't join the rebellion.
I don't like using magic to fight. I'm not good at it either. I like studying. I like performing rituals that helped us unlock the secrets of the Veil. I liked having the Templars around to keep us safe.
Most Circle mages I've met have a different opinion of the Templars.
They have not lived my life. I was born into a Dalish clan. I lived there until my magic manifested. The Dalish cannot risk having too many mages in one clan. And I was one more than they could bear. They gave me a pack and sent me into the woods to find my own life. I was 7 years old.
I'm so sorry.
I stumbled into a village, starving and cold, a few weeks later. I started using magic to scare predators away. The villagers saw me make fire in my fist. They were terrified and wanted to kill me. Templars saved me from them. They gave me food and clothes and took me to the Circle. I've seen what life is like without the Templars, and I want no part of it. I just want to study.
Why did you decide to research dangerous creatures?
I like the outdoors. The idea of the outdoors, anyway. When some monster is coming at you, glowing eyes and burning claws, it's terrifying. But once you know how it works, you can deal with it. It's just another part of the world. So much of this world is only frightening because we don't understand it.
You said that you were keeping some of the Tranquils safe?
Yes. The mages took some of them when my Circle rebelled, but the rest were forgotten. Most Circle mages look down on the Tranquil, or try to pretend they don't exist. They don't have any emotions. They can barely take care of themselves. Can't defend themselves at all. It's a shame. I like them better than most people.
I'm glad they have someone who cares about them.
They deserve better. They're polite, they're rational, and they'll never get angry at you. When they study, they have a focus no normal person could ever match. But the Templars, even some of the mages, mistreated them just because they could. The Tranquil never fought back. If not for that, I don't know. Doesn't really matter now.
I found something the demons left behind. Can you use it?
Yes, that's very helpful. Just leave it there and the Tranquil and I will examine it. That will help. If you find anything, please bring it in.
There are many misconceptions regarding Andraste's bloodline, Monsieur. This is due, I should think, to a general lack of knowledge regarding Andraste's mortal life. Understandable, considering the many cults that arose following her death. Everyone sought to claim Our Lady for their own culture or claim some aspect of her existence was a lie. All of them complete fabrications. My order has done considerable research to ascertain the truth. We all know Andraste and the Betrayer raised 5 children. The eldest 3 were sons, Isarath, Evrion, and Veled. Verald. The rule of what was once southern Tevinter was split among them. Isarath was given the west, what is today Orlais. Evrion was given the east, what is today the Free Marches. Verald was given the central Planocene, what is today Navarra. What became of these men and their legacies is the stuff of legend, as the majority of claimants to Andraste's bloodline link back to one of them. None of the 3 sons, however, were born of Andraste. They were born of the Betrayer's concubine, Gillivan. People choose to overlook the fact that Andraste came from the Alamari tribesmen and that they were barbarians, not the Ferelden's we know today. They were savage warriors who took concubines in addition to their wives, and because Andraste was thought to be too weak to bear children, the Betrayer took Gillivan to provide him heirs, which she did. After her death, the sons were raised as Andraste's own. Later in life, Andraste proved predictions wrong and had 2 daughters by the Betrayer, Ebris and Vivial. They were kept out of the public eye and not permitted to marry, though both had consorts. Ebris had but one child, Ali Vemar, who perished on a voyage to Denerim, less than a month after her mother fell to plague, and without children of her own. The younger daughter, Vivial, was more controversial, a strong-headed woman who defied her family by falling in love with a mage of Tevinter, Regulan. Vivial and Regulan went into self-imposed exile as the Exalted March began, and into hiding following Andraste's betrayal and murder. What became of Vivial and her descendants is largely unknown for one primary reason. She had only daughters. Each of those daughters only had daughters. They married into other families and took other names, and in the chaos of the Second Blight, all traces of survivors were lost. Andraste's true bloodline, if it exists, lies solely in the descendants of Vivial, and the suspicion of my order is that it produced only daughters. Thus, the claims of your young man, monsieur, are highly suspect. From a letter by Sister Galena of the Augustan Order, Dragon 912. The light shall lead her safely through the paths of the world and into the next. For she who trusts in the Maker, fire... Hey, level up. Fire is her water. As the moth sees light and goes toward flame, she should set fire and go toward light. The veil holds no uncertainty for her, and she will know no fear of death, for the Maker shall be her beacon and her shield, her foundation and her sword. Transfigurations 10:1, often sung by mourners as they light candles.
Heaven has been filled with silence. I knew that.
The study of the Fade is as old as humankind. For so long as men have dreamed, we have walked its twisted paths, sometimes catching a glimpse of the city at its heart, always as close as our own thoughts, but impossibly separated from our world. The Tevinter Imperium once spent vast fortunes of gold, lyrium, and human slaves in an effort to map the terrain of the Fade, an ultimately futile endeavor. Although portions of it belong to powerful spirits, all of the fate is in constant flux. The Imperium succeeded in finding the disparate and ever-shifting realms of a dozen demon lords, as well as cataloging a few hundred types of spirits, before they were forced to abandon the project. The relationship of dreamers to the Fade is complex. Even when entering the Fade through the use of lyrium, mortals are not able to control or affect it. The spirits who dwell there, however, can, and as the Chantry teaches us, the great flaw of the spirits is that they have neither imagination nor ambition. They create what they see through their sleeping visitors, building elaborate copies of our cities, people, and events, which, like the reflection in a mirror, ultimately lack context or life of their own. Even the most powerful demons merely plagiarize the worst thoughts and fears of mortals, and build their realms with no other ambition than to taste life. From Tranquility and the Role of the Fate in Human Culture by First Enchanter Josephus.
Truths the Maker has revealed to me, as there is but one God, one life, one air.
Prof Carriadon wanted to know when you might be able to provide the materials.
Let's get these missions handed in. Sister Liliana, how I rejoice to see the colors of the Inquisition run the rabble out of my ancestral fields, and straight into the woods of my neighbor, Banth Traft, no less, as if they were guided by the hand of the Maker himself. I could not be better pleased. As promised a reward for your excellence help in my time of lamentation. Andraste keep you in her heart, Lord Kildren. I got money! Dear Lady Montilier, the Herald of Andraste's relatives have become much more restrained when discussing the Inquisition, going so far as to avoid the subject entirely. Whatever future boon they may ask of us, their newfound modesty is most gratifying. Best regards, Lady Buttleford. I got influence! Commander Cullen, your honor guard was a welcome sight at the Divine's vigil. As a measure of thanks, I am sending Ferelden arms and equipment for your troops. Sincerely, Taryn Fergus Kuzlan. Ferelden Captain Longsword. Up until now, Inquisition forces have had the benefit of the Chantry's deep coffers. Now the Inquisition is forced to seek out its own sources of revenue if it is going to grow further. Trade in and out of Haven is limited at this point, but there are various opportunities to earn coin, provided the Inquisitor is willing to focus its efforts on the matter. Trading in favors with merchants and the nobility is my specialty. It could earn us a great deal if we're careful.
At your service.
Ruffles, I need a favor. Actually, let's call it a loan, since I'll pay it back. I got a letter from my editor in Kirkwall today. She tells me that Hard in Hightown 3, the repunching appears in print from an Antiva printer a couple weeks ago. I'll give you a moment to contemplate the horror of that title. I had my contacts in the Merchants Guild look for the author a couple years back. The best they could find out about after spending a couple hundred gold was that Pyrrol Bellenforth is a pen name. I could have told them that for free. You've got contacts with the Antivan print houses. Maybe you could find out more about than the guild. If this author has evaded the Merchants Guild, the Crows might be a better choice for investigating him.
Let's see what we have.
What do we got down here? I need power level 8. In the perks menu, you can select perks that provide unique benefits to your party. The number of available perks is shown at the bottom of the screen. I have none. Talk to you later, guys. Oh yeah, I can level up, right? Let's go shield bash.
When there was no sky, Maker, you were the sky. When there was no earth.
Blessed are the peacekeepers, the champions of the just. Blessed are the righteous, the lights in the shadow. In their blood, the Maker's will is written. Is that what you want from us? Blood. To die so that your will is done? Is death your only blessing? You speak for Andraste, no? What does the Maker's prophet have to say about all of this? What's his game?
How is this a game?
Do you see the sky? What about the temple ruins? The bones lying in the dust? Even if you didn't support the Divine's peace, you wouldn't call this right. Who could? So many innocent lives. The faithful murdered where the holiest of holies once stood. If the Maker willed this, what is it if not a game or a cruel joke?
I speak for no one but myself, and I have no answers for you.
Then we can only guess at what he wants. The Chantry teaches that the Maker abandoned us. He demands repentance for our sins. He demands it all. Our lives, our deaths. Justinia gave him everything she had, and he let her die.
I'm sorry. Her death has clearly hit you hard.
Not just me. All of us. She was the Divine. She led the faithful. She was their heart. If the Maker doesn't intervene to save the best of his servants, what good is he? I used to believe I was chosen, just as some say you are. I thought I was fulfilling his purpose for me, working with the Divine, helping people. But now she's dead. It was all for nothing. Serving the Maker meant nothing.
Maybe you have another purpose. I could help you find it.
No, this is my burden. I regret that I even let you see me like this. It was a moment of weakness. It won't happen again. Come. To work, then. We will speak later. So it's true. Butler has stand on us. I hope my hunch was wrong.
You knew him well?
Not as well as I thought. Show me the reports. There were so many questions surrounding Faria's death. Did he think we wouldn't notice? He's killed Faria, one of my best agents, and knows where the others are. You know what must be done. Make it clean. Painless if you can. We were friends once.
Wait, what are you doing?
He betrayed us. He murdered my agent.
And you'd kill him, just like that.
You find fault with my decision?
We can't solve our problems with murder.
And what would you suggest? Leave him be. Butler's betrayal put our agents in danger. I condemned one man to save dozens. I may not like what I do, but it must be done. I cannot afford the luxury of ideals at a time like this.
Now is precisely the time for ideals.
You feel very strongly about this. Very well. I will think of another way to deal with this man. Apprehend Butler, but see that he lives. Now, if you're happy, I have more work to do. Reports of fade rifts and demons keep coming. The people are terrified, and it's only getting worse.
The only thing that will calm their fears now is the hope that someone out there can save them. You have to be that someone. No one else has any power over the rifts. Seal them. Your legend will spread, and Thedas will learn to trust the Inquisition.
Why do you want me to seek out the rebel mages? Why do you care?
I've known mages. Some of them were better people than me. And yet I'm free and they're not. It's not right.
They called you the left hand of the Divine.
That they did. What of it?
What is the point of an Inquisition?
Justinia would have started the Inquisition if the Divine Conclave failed to restore peace. She hoped that with enough support, we could challenge the very tenets of the Chantry. She wanted the Chantry to treat the mages fairly. But sometimes I wonder, why stop at mages? The Chantry has committed many injustices. If we're going to change it, why not change the whole thing? It's just a thought. None of this will be possible if we fail.
I'm sorry she didn't live to see the Inquisition.
So am I.
What exactly does the left hand of the Divine do?
A Divine always has enemies, and Justinia had more than most. I protected her. I watched, had an ear to every door. I identified threats, and I dealt with them.
Why did Justinia have so many enemies?
There were many who felt she was unfit to be divine. She had a past, a worldly life. Unlike many, she wasn't given to the Chantry as a child. She chose it, and somehow that made her unworthy. And because they thought she was unworthy, they wished her harm.
It sounds like you did some unscrupulous things as the left hand.
Perhaps, but wouldn't you do anything to protect what you love?
I'd like to hear about Justinia. What was she like?
A friend. A mentor. Like me, she had secrets, made mistakes. It made her human. I think her followers responded to that.
How did you and Justinia meet?
I met her a long time ago, before she became divine. Before she was Justinia. When I met her, she was Mother Dorothea. I was at my lowest. Broken, lost. And she saved me. No, wait. She hates it when I say that. I saved myself. She just showed me it was possible.
Was there something more than friendship between you?
You're asking if we were lovers? Typical. I was devoted to her, therefore it must be romantic. Love is common. Love is simple. My bond with Justinia was something greater. She was a sister, a mother, a teacher. So to answer your question, yes, it was more than friendship.
We'll talk more later.
Did you need something?
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
You seem to know Josephine quite well.
I met her a long time ago, but we didn't become good friends until years later. After the Blight, in fact. I'd just returned to Val Rayo, and she welcomed me back by throwing a diplomatic ball. She was the Antivan ambassador at the time, you see. The ball was... alright. Too many politicians. At midnight, Josie and I left to find a real party. We've been friends ever since.
What do you consider a real party?
It's not a real party until someone's small clothes are pinned to a chantry board. And that's all I'm saying about it.
You have a history with the Warden who ended the Blight, don't you?
He's always in my thoughts, even when we're far apart. My love is on a quest of his own. When the Inquisition has no further need of me, I will join him. For good this time. I have lost enough. I will not lose him as well.
They say you spent some time in Lothering. Did you know the champion?
We spoke a few times. I seldom left the Chantry, and we never became more than casual acquaintances. I saw more of the Hawk twins. Bethany in particular. She would spend time in meditation at the Chantry, and she seemed to like my stories. The other one, the young man, he was a little surly.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am? Yes?
Let's talk about you.
Me?
Bards tell tales. I bet you tell some good ones.
There are plenty of tales in the library. Perhaps you should look for them there.
What did you do before you worked for the Divine?
I was a bard, an Orlesian spy for many years. For a time, I also served a small cloister in Lothering. After the Blight, the Divine called on me to oversee her personal network.
Can you teach me to be a bard?
Being a bard is so much more than being a spy. It involves a keen understanding of politics, the ebb and flow of influence, the great game. The Bard's is an intricate dance where a smile can be sharper than any dagger. The best way to learn is to immerse yourself in it. Perhaps when this is all over, I'll teach you.
I should leave you to your work.
We can always talk later. I'm listening.
Anything I should know?
I've nothing to report at the moment.
I'll leave you to your work.
As a bard, you are welcome anywhere in Orlais. Doors are open to you with generous smiles. Their wearer is confident that no one would falsely pretend to be such a title for fear of retribution. Your slightest request is immediately seen to. Your services are expensive and yet actively sought, and those who cannot afford them beg only to not have your displeasure turned their way. One day, however, you will awaken. You will realize the smiles are false, and behind them lies revenge. At the first moment of weakness, your brother and sister bards will be unleashed upon you like a pack of hounds, and you will realize they are not your brothers and sisters at all. For all your fancy intrigue, you have spent your life creating nothing of worth. You've been swallowed by the web of your own deceits, and the game of which you believed yourself master, it moves on without you, uncaring. From a letter signed Sister Nightingale. Nothing.
Thanks for checking anyway.
Hey, Varric.
Need something?
Can I ask you something, Varric?
You want to talk about me? I'm flattered. Also inclined toward extravagant lies.
Thanks, Varric.
No problem.
You there. There's a shield in your hand. Block with it. If this man were your enemy, you'd be dead. Lieutenant, don't hold back. The recruits must prepare for a real fight, not a practice one.
Yes, Commander.
We've received a number of recruits. Locals from Haven and some pilgrims. None made quite the entrance you did.
At least I get everyone's attention.
That you did. I was recruited to the Inquisition in Kirkwall myself. I was there during the Mage Uprising. I saw firsthand the devastation it caused.
Sir.
Cassandra sought a solution. When she offered me a position, I left the Templars to join her cause. Now it seems we face something far worse.
I must have this mark for a reason. It will work, I'm sure of it.
Provided we can secure aid, but I'm confident we can. The Chantry lost control of both Templars and Mages. Now they argue over a new Divine while the breach remains. The Inquisition could act when the Chantry cannot. Our followers would be part of that. There's so much we can...
Forgive me. I doubt you came here for a lecture.
You understand our situation. I appreciate your opinion.
Look around. Our people are well organized and committed. Despite what the clerics think, we are in the best position to help. There's still a lot of work ahead.
Commander, Sir Ryden has a report on our supply lines.
As I was saying. Was there something you needed?
Why would Templars break away from the Chantry?
The Order believes the Chantry no longer supports their efforts. Not to the extent they should.
But the Templars have served the Chantry for ages.
In that time, they've come to take the Order's services for granted. Templars risk their lives against blood magic, demons, abominations, to feel as if those efforts are dismissed. I may disagree with the Order's actions, but I'm here as proof of that. I sympathize with their frustrations.
What do you think of the people you work with?
Who do you mean?
What do you think of our ambassador?
We have little in common. How she delights in meeting with nobles all day is beyond me. But I enjoy working with her.
How do you like working with Liliana?
The Inquisition would not exist without her. I may not always agree with her methods, but she's more passionate about our cause than anyone. Cassandra may have declared the Inquisition publicly, and Liliana is just as responsible for its formation.
Are you satisfied with the Inquisition's forces?
Our numbers are small, but they suit our needs for the time being. Some Templars have joined us instead of following the Order. They've proven invaluable in training new recruits.
I should let you get back to work.
Did you need something?
Did you leave anyone behind in Kirkwall?
No. I fear I made few friends there, and my family's in Ferelden.
No one special caught your interest?
I can't say I was looking. Honestly, I was not good company back then.
I take it you're not looking now?
Between the needs of the Inquisition and... well, I can't say that I am.
I'd like to know more about the Templars.
If you need insight into what the Order is doing now, I'm afraid I can't offer more than you already know. Anything else, I will answer as best I can.
What does Templar training involve?
There is weapon and combat training. Even without their abilities, Templars are among the best warriors in Thedas. Initiates must also memorize portions of the Chant of Light, study history, and improve their mental focus.
Did you enjoy your training?
To learn everything. If I was giving my life to this, I would be the best Templar I could.
You were a model student.
I wanted to be. I wasn't always successful. Watching a candle burn down while reciting the chant of transfiguration wasn't the most exciting task. I admit, my mind sometimes wandered.
Do Templars take vows? I swear to the Maker to watch all the mages. That sort of thing?
There's a vigil first. You're meant to be at peace during that time, but your life is about to change. When it's over, you give yourself to a life of service. That's when you're given a filter, your first draft of Lyria and its power. As Templars, we are not to seek wealth or acknowledgement. Our lives belong to the Maker and the path we have chosen.
Did the Templars do anything besides hunt mages?
Templars protect against the dangers of magic. Before the Order left the Chantry, that meant serving in a circle. They were also tasked with tracking apostates or fighting demons inevitably summoned by the weak or malicious.
What do you think of mages? Are they all a threat?
I've seen the suffering magic can inflict. I've treated mages with distrust because of it, at times without cause. That was unworthy of me. I will try not to do so again. Not that I want mages moving through our base completely unchecked. We need safeguards in place to protect people, including mages, from possession at the least.
Why did you join the Order?
I could think of no better calling than to protect those in need. I used to beg the Templars as our local chantry to teach me. At first, they merely humored me. I must have shown promise, or at least a willingness to learn. The Knight Captain spoke to my parents on my behalf. They agreed to send me for training. I was 13 when I left home.
13? That's still so young.
I wasn't the youngest there. Some children are promised to the Order at infancy. Still, I didn't take on full responsibilities until I was 18. The Order sees you trained and educated first.
What about your family? Did you miss them?
Of course. But there were many my age who felt the same. We learned to look out for one another.
You've lived in the Circle. What was a typical day for a Templar there?
Typical. The last time I was in a circle was right before it fell apart. Nothing was typical.
Before that, then?
Certain rituals require a full guard. A mage's howling, for instance. I've attended a few. Most of the time, you merely maintain a presence, on patrol or in the circle, ready to respond if needed. Mages pretend to ignore that presence, but they're watching you just as closely.
Do Templars and mages never speak to each other?
Some do, but Templars are supposed to maintain a certain distance from their charges. If a mage is possessed or uses blood magic, you must act quickly, without hesitation. Your judgment cannot be clouded. Of course, ignoring one another does nothing to foster understanding.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
I'm sure you have other matters to attend. Did you need something?
I should get to know you better. We're working together, after all.
What would you like to know?
All right. Where are you from?
Where'd this come from? My esteemed Lady Sidonia, I'd like to take full responsibility for Lady Marchalette's odd behavior of late. You see, we recently began the study of history. I thought that it would do the young mistress some good to be exposed to all of the Docian cultures and not just Orlais. It was a foolish thought. Regrettably, your dear daughter has taken a particular interest in Ferelden folklore. She first developed an affinity for King Calenhad, which seems to have developed into borderline infatuation. She stared at me, eyes wide, when I told her how he unified the barbarians with his allegedly incomparable might and charisma. Every time I tried to move the lesson on to something more important, she insisted I tell her again about Calenhad, how the Ferelden say his hair was twice as yellow as the sun, and his chin more chiseled than the tallest peak in the Frostbacks. Twice now I've had to tear down drawings she's tacked up in her bedroom of the man shirtless. Then we moved on to the werewolves, which was even worse. As you may already know, the Fereldans venerate the folk heroes Dane and Hafter. Dane was said to have been a werewolf, and Hafter to have descended from one. No enlightened man or woman could ever view such beast people with anything but revulsion. But you know Fereldans and their love of wildlife. Unfortunately, these tales of the wolfmen see the little mistress's imagination afire. When she suggested we put on a play for you and her lord father, I could not say no. I'm afraid that's why Marchalette was running through the mansion, wearing wet furs and frightening the chambermaids. She was rehearsing a scene in which Hafter drives back the Darkspawn. I've been informed that some priceless family heirlooms were destroyed amidst all the confusion, and I cannot fully express my dismay. I understand if my abject failure as a tutor result in my immediate dismissal. A letter from Brother Bernard to his former employer.
I grew up in Ferelden, near Homley. I was transferred to Kirkwall shortly after the Blight. This is the
first I've returned in almost 10 years.
You haven't seen Ferelden in 10 years. Are you glad to be back?
I was not sorry to leave at the time. I did not expect to return. Now, between the Divine's murder and the breach, I've arrived to find nothing but chaos.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight. Did you fight Darkspawn?
No. I was stationed at Ferelden's Circle Tower. The Circle had troubles of its own. I remained there during the Blight.
What happened at the Circle Tower?
Few who survived the Blight have fond memories of that time. I would prefer not to speak of it.
What was Kirkwall like?
While I was there, Canary occupied and then attacked the city. The Viscount's murder caused political unrest. Relations between mages and Templars fell apart. The apostate blew up the Chantry, and the Knight Commander went mad. Other than that, it was fine.
What happened between Kirkwall's mages and Templars?
You were at the Conclave. You must have heard people speak of it.
Yes, but you were there.
There was tension between mages and Templars long before I arrived. Eventually, it reached a breaking point. There was fighting in the streets. Abominations began killing both sides. It was a nightmare.
What happened then?
The Templars should have restored order. But Red Lyrium had driven Knight Commander Meredith mad. She threatened to kill Kirkwall's champion. Turned on her own men. I'm not sure how far she would have gone. Too far.
So you opposed her?
I stood with the champion against her, in the end. I should have seen through Meredith sooner.
Varric's from Kirkwall. Did you two know each other?
I knew he was friends with the champion of Kirkwall, but little else. We've spoken more since I joined the Inquisition, largely at Varric's insistence. Apparently, I spend too much time with a serious expression on my face, and it's bad for my health.
I'll let you return to your work.
I'm sure you have other matters to attend. Yes?
Is there anything I should know?
Not at present.
That's all for now.
Another time, then.
You're kind of a force of nature, aren't you?
When I need to be.
It's impressive.
You flatter me.
I'm trying.
Did I do the right thing? What I have set in motion here could destroy everything I have revered my whole life. One day they may write about me as a traitor, a madwoman, a fool, and they may be right.
What does your faith tell you?
I believe you are innocent. I believe more is going on here than we can see. And I believe no one else cares to do anything about it. They will stand in the fire and complain that it is hot. But is this the Maker's will? I can only guess.
You don't think I'm the Herald of Andraste?
I think you were sent to help us. I hope you were. But the Maker's help takes many forms. Sometimes it's difficult to discern who it truly benefits, or how.
What's going to happen now?
Now, we deal with the Chantry's panic over you before they do even more harm. Then we close the breach. We are the only ones who can. After that, we find out who is responsible for this chaos, and we end them. And if there are consequences to be paid for what I have done, I pay them. I only pray the price is not too high.
You didn't have any choice.
Didn't I? My trainers always said, Cassandra, you are too brash. You must think before you act. I see what must be done, and I do it. I see no point in running around in circles like a dog chasing its tail. But I misjudged you in the beginning, did I not? I thought the answer was before me, clear as day. I cannot afford to be so careless again.
It wasn't like you had no reason to suspect me.
I was determined to have someone answer for what happened. Anyone. I'm curious. Do you even believe in the Maker?
I believe he exists.
That's comforting. Surely the Maker put us both on this path for a reason. Now it simply remains to see where it leads us.
Question I'm sure on everyone's mind.
It occurs to me I don't actually know much about you.
What do you want to know?
I'm not sure. Where are you from?
I was born in Ostwick, and that's where most of my family is.
The Trevellians, is it not? A large clan with a rather clever coat of arms. Tell me, do you consider the Free Marches your home? Are you eager to go back?
I might, once this is done.
It will not be the same once you do.
Can you tell me more about the Seekers?
The Seekers of Truth were born from the original Inquisition long ago, when it united with the Chantry. Seekers stood above the Templars, watching over them but also investigating magical events they couldn't handle. We were meant to be incorruptible, above reproach. How seldom does reality match the ideal?
But what are Seekers, exactly?
Those who know anything of us think we are Templars. We do not use lyrium, however. Our abilities are different, as was our original purpose. We disciplined the Templars and were accountable only to the Divine. And not even her, truthfully.
So nobody ever watched over the Seekers?
It was the Divine's duty. But she could only do so much when the truth was hidden from her. The Templars have always feared us. When a Seeker arrived at a circle, they knew trouble was afoot. That kind of power is troubling. You begin to think you are the only one who can solve the world's problems. If you don't see a problem, it doesn't exist. If someone insists it does, they are the blind ones.
Do you think that kind of problem could ever be fixed?
Possibly. Though the Seekers themselves would need to change. They were clearly not willing to, even though they abandoned everything they stood for to avoid it. In my heart, I believe they can still be salvaged, but not by their own hands.
You mentioned that Seekers have different abilities than Templars.
Entirely. A Templar's abilities come from lyrium and are designed to hunt mages. Ours come from ritual and many years of dedicated training. We cannot be possessed by demons and are immune to mind control. Useful, considering our role. Seekers can gain other gifts, though that depends on the individual.
What kind of gifts do you have?
I can set the lyrium within a person's blood aflame. Both mages and Templars bend before my will. Some Seekers use it to interrogate, others simply to paralyze. Once there was a Seeker who could use it to kill. That particular gift is considered rare.
Why did your order turn against the Chantry?
We originally united with the Chantry through a treaty that stated they would keep mages under control. It was felt Most Holy had tacitly allowed the Circle of Magi to vote on its independence, thus breaking the treaty. The Seekers saw themselves as justified, and they led the Templars into a war of righteousness.
You sound like you disagree.
We knew what was happening at Kirkwall, where the Mage Rebellion began. We looked into reports of Knight Commander Meredith's harsh treatment of her charges years earlier. But we found so many shocking cases of magical corruption, it was decided her actions were justified. If we'd been there when it happened, if we'd looked harder at the root causes.
You're right. Something should have been done.
When faced with a problem, the Seekers would close ranks and crush it. We would find an answer, but only once we felt we weren't being coerced. The moment the mages voted for independence, our response was predictable. It was difficult to watch.
How does someone become a Seeker?
Most Seekers begin training in their youth. I was much older, an exception due to my noble birth. We train rigorously for years. Our bodies and minds must be elastic to undergo the vigil, and most fail even then.
Is the vigil some kind of initiation?
It is the rite every Seeker must go through in order to summon their gifts. A full year of fasting, prayer, and separation from all distractions, including other people. We empty ourselves of all emotion, focusing only on the purity of our devotion. And the moment it finally ends, it's wonderful. Faith realized. I cannot put it into words.
I wish I could experience that.
If the vigil was not so arduous, I'd say more should attempt it. What if mages never needed to fear possession by demons? I'm told it is impossible, however. I suppose I'll never know the truth of it now.
I've no more questions.
Yes?
May I ask you about the Chantry?
It is difficult to say what becomes of the Chantry now. They have no Templars, no leadership, and no one left who is worthy of succeeding the Divine. It has fallen apart when everyone needs it the most. I ache to think what this will mean in the days to come.
Will the Chantry replace Divine Justinia?
They will try. Once the priests withdraw for the Grand Consensus, it is against Chantry law for them to emerge without naming a new Divine. Sometimes it takes days, or weeks, or even months. The problem now is that no clear successor to Justinia exists. All worthy clerics died with her at the Conclave.
So what happens if they can't agree on something?
Theoretically, they will argue until exhaustion takes them or they see reason. Practically, however, if the Grand Consensus goes on too long, the Chantry will crumble. Any cleric with ambition but little sense will see this as her one chance, and plenty of such clerics exist. We shall see what happens. The Inquisition must act in the meantime.
If they do choose a new Divine, will you serve her?
That depends on whether she would have me. I am a rebel now, remember? And even if she would, I do not know. It would depend on what type of Divine she is. I am no longer in a position to follow blindly, and no new Divine could expect such obedience now.
What influence does Chancellor Roderick really wield?
He's a bureaucrat, responsible for communicating the Divine's will to the rest of the Chantry. Therefore, he's accustomed to the clerics hanging on his every word, hoping his influence will benefit them. Despite that, Roderick is not a bad man. He's frightened, and believes his place is to fill the gap left by Most Holy's death. Some might agree. As far down the chain of command as he is, there is no one left above him.
How big a problem could he be?
No more than he is already. He sent his message to the College of Clerics. That is the only card he had to play. Dealing with him further only lends him credibility he doesn't deserve.
Do you really believe the Chantry is worth preserving?
If you ask my opinion, it is. Absolutely. Cast the Chantry aside and new problems replace old ones. We will have learned nothing from history. The people need stability, and the Chantry needs a new purpose. Andraste had a dream for us. It can still be achieved.
So what should that new purpose be?
A dedication to what is truly important. Instead of building cathedrals and sewing gowns for the Divine, the Chantry used to spend its coin feeding the poor. If we are to spread the Maker's word across the world, we must do so with open hearts and open hands.
Sounds rather idealistic of you.
Does it? I do not think it's so unachievable. The Chantry has many good, honest people. They just need direction and inspiration. They need to be freed from centuries of adherence to tradition and ceremony. A chance for renewal is at our fingertips. It does not have to come with utter chaos.
I'm surprised you rebelled against the Chantry.
I left my own order when they took the wrong path. It is no different. But in neither case did I stop caring. Indeed, I care so much that I feel drastic action is necessary. I suppose history shall one day judge my actions.
Thank you.
Yes?
I'd like to get to know you better.
You would?
Is that a problem?
Not entirely. I'm just curious as to your motivation.
No motivation beyond making things between us less...
Antagonistic?
Exactly.
As you wish. My name is Cassandra Pentegast, daughter of the Royal House of Navarra, 78th in line for the Navarran throne. I joined the Seekers of Truth as a young woman, and was with the Order until they withdrew from the Chantry. I remained as the Divine's right hand, carrying out her order to form the Inquisition. And here we are. That's all there is to know, my lord.
You're a member of Navarra's royal family.
The Pentegasts are a very large clan. Half of Cumberland could say the same.
Really?
No, but it feels that way. I have hundreds of relatives so distant they need charts to prove we're related at all. And they have them. Oh yes. The Pentegasts value their precious blood like it runs with gold.
And you joined the Seekers to get away from that?
It was a life worth getting away from. The Pentegasts are famed for dragon hunting, but few actually pursue the craft. Most are fat and lazy. They pay lip service to the Maker and care only for idle pleasures and past glories. My brother was all that kept me in Navarra. Once he was gone, so was I.
Tell me about your brother.
I would prefer not to speak of Anthony. Another time, perhaps.
You don't seem to like your homeland much.
My family polluted it for me. What little I saw of my homeland was through the bars of a gilded cage. My uncle treated me like a porcelain doll to be placed on a shelf and dusted only when necessary. Thus, I did not see Navarra, the real Navarra, until much later. By then, I realized I knew it not at all.
Your uncle? What about your parents?
They had the misfortune of taking the wrong side in the second attempt to overthrow King Marcus. The king executed them, but spared my brother and I since we were family, and children at the time. Thus we were raised by my uncle, a Mortalitasi who preferred the company of his corpses to the living.
Your uncle was a Mortalitasi?
A death mage. He still is. My countrymen do not burn the dead, they bury them in special crypts. The Mortalitasi supervise the crypts, like priests. Uncle Vestalis oversees the grand necropolis. Navarrans spend more time honoring dead relatives than they do with living ones. It is odd to be so fascinated with death and its trappings. I will never understand it.
So you were the right hand to the Divine?
To Divine Justinia, yes. And Divine Beatrix before her, in fact. The position is normally reserved for Templars of the Knights Divine, but my circumstances were unusual.
Unusual how?
You don't know the story? Thank the Maker. I will tell you if you wish, but it isn't as exciting as some drum it up to be. The short version is that I once saved the previous Divine's life. My reward was becoming her right hand.
But what does a right hand do exactly?
What is your hand capable of? It gives, it takes, it beckons. It makes a fist. Liliana and I extended the Divine's reach beyond the Grand Cathedral. We went where she could not. After Beatrix, I was tired of the position and wanted to return to the Seekers. But Justinia convinced me to stay. Her vision for the future gave me hope.
You thought she could really change things?
Justinian knew the war was coming long before it began. She tried to avert it, but the forces arrayed against her were too strong. Sometimes you have to break a bone so it can be reset. That's where the Inquisition comes in. It was to be the answer. A means to preserve as well as an agent for change. I only wish she had lived to see it.
So what's the story about you becoming the right hand?
Sweet Andraste, do you really want to hear that? It was, what, 18, 20 years ago? Some still discuss it like it happened yesterday. The tale gets bigger each time it's told. I barely recognize myself within it now.
That's what happens with stories that become legends.
I am not a legend, nor was I then. I was a young woman barely out of training. To hear others tell it, I alone saved divine Beatrix from a horde of dragons sent to assault the Grand Cathedral. Rather impressive for such a young seeker, wouldn't you say?
And the truth is?
I stumbled upon a conspiracy to kill Beatrix. A Templar Knight Commander was at its heart. And there was a dragon battle at the Grand Cathedral that I had help from loyal mages who rallied to the cause. They freed the dragons from magical control. Without them, the Divine and I would both have died. Yet I became the right hand, and they are forgotten.
What happened to the mages that helped you?
They went back to their circles, with rewards and privileges and most holy's gratitude. Many of them died at the country.
I think you're a hero, no matter how you downplay it.
Fine. But it was 20 years ago. I will not rest upon my laurels.
I'll let you get back to work.
Codex time again. The Seekers of Truth are Templars, not precisely. Once they were called the Inquisition, but upon the signing of the Navarran Accord, they gave up that name and became the order they are now, standing over as Templars as watchers and enforcers. I honestly cannot claim to know more than that. I don't know how many Seekers there are. A few dozen? If they have a base of operations, I don't know where it is. Certainly not with any of us. The only time we'll see one is when a Seeker is summoned, perhaps in response to a complaint by one of the first enchanters. They'll investigate the problem, and if it turns out a Templar did something they don't like, he's disciplined. Severely, without question. Even the Knight Commander bows to their will. If a Seeker of Truth shows up, you know every last Templar is sweating, hoping their gaze doesn't fall on him. Of course, that changed when the Navarran Accord was broken. I'm told the Chantry broke it, but it was Lord Seeker Lambert who made the announcement. He said the Seekers of Truth and the Templar Order were going to hunt rebel mages, no matter what the Divine commanded. I didn't know he had that authority, that he could just say we would do this and everyone would follow, but we did. I never thought of it that way, but the Seekers have always been our guides. Now they've led us into war. From a letter written by Sir Jonathan Perry, 940 Dragon. Allow me to correct you on one important point, my friend. The Pentaghasts are Navarra. Without us, this nation would either still be one of the motley city-states that comprise the Free Marches or under Orlesian control. More likely the latter, as only Navarra's strength holds back the Empire's expansion. And by that I refer to the brilliance of Pentaghast generals and the influence of Pentaghast coin. I find it interesting that you mentioned dragon hunting as our only significant trait. You do understand, I hope, that dragons disappeared centuries ago, only recently returning at the beginning of this age. Some of our clan have taken up the old trait of nostalgia, my cousin Ferdinand the most prominent among them, but those days are largely done. Today there are 14 branches of the family, 18 if one counts our relations among the Vane Markhams, each consisting of multiple families and twisting bloodlines connecting us to almost every major house across Thedas. I'm fully aware that King Marcus wanes in health, and whether he nor Ferdinand have children, but make no mistake, there will be another Pentaghast sitting on the Navarran throne, and that man or woman will lead us into a prosperous future. There will be no civil war. From a letter by Baroness Elia Pentaghast, Dragon 938. The fourth time I attempted to cross the border into Navarre from Orlais and was turned back by chevaliers, I decided to take the more roundabout path, a ship back to Ferelden, and then another to Navarre. The outcome was more than worth the trouble. The whole country is filled with artistry, from the statues of heroes that litter the streets and even the meanest villages to the glittering golden College of Magi in Cumberland. Perhaps nowhere is more astonishing than the vast necropolis outside Navarre city. Unlike most other followers of Andraste, the Navarrans do not burn their dead. Instead, they carefully preserve the bodies and seal them in elaborate tombs. Some of the wealthiest Navarrans begin construction of their own tombs while quite young, and these become incredible palaces, complete with gardens, bathhouses, and ballrooms, utterly silent, kept only for the dead. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genetivi. Okay, quests. I need power up. There are reports of a small group of Grey Wardens traveling along the northern coast of Ferelden in an area known as the Storm Coast. I need more power for that. Guess we should go to the hinterlands, I guess. Hey, Varric. Any requisitions?
To know why you need so much death room.
Thanks for checking anyway.
Oh, I'll just tell him that, Enchanter.
Can I help you with something?
Never mind.
Farewell.
Make her go with you.
Walk safely.
To the war room.
Apothecary Adon says you'll have the reagents you requested soon.
Please tell me if you find something.
I will. Okay, what do we got? My dear Liliana, your Arthur friend is truly a mystery. Our search uncovered only a string of foreign accounts. The trail of coin led from Antiva to Tevinter to the Free Marches and Orlais. Someone hid their tracks well, but not well enough. Your writer is in Kirkwall, and remember, you owe me a favor. An amulet of power. Our efforts bore fruit. A portion of the profits will be passed to you. Use it wisely, Harold. Get some more coin.
Let's begin.
Might as well. Eric, Cassandra, Solus. Let's go. All acquired schematics in your inventory. Gather herbs and metals out in the wild and use them to craft upgrades. Spawn and find as many varieties as you can. I'll probably get here, establish a small foothold, and then I'll call it a day. We spend a lot of time in Haven. Once this loads...
World of Andraste. I've heard the stories. Everyone has. We know what you did at the breach. It's an honor to meet you, my lord. Inquisition Scout Harding, at your service. Well, all of us here, will do whatever we can to help.
Harding, huh? Ever been to Kirkwall's Hightown?
I can't say I have. Why?
You'd be Harding and... No, never mind.
Ugh.
Hi, Allie Hillis.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
We should get to business. The situation's pretty dire. We came to secure horses from Redcliffe's old horsemaster. I grew up here, and people always said that Dennett's herds were the strongest and the fastest this side of the Frostbacks. But with the Mage Templar fighting getting worse, we couldn't get to Dennett. Maker only knows if he's even still alive. Mother Giselle's at the crossroads helping refugees and the wounded. Our latest reports say that the war's spread there too. Corporal Vale and our men are doing what they can to help protect the people, but they won't be able to hold out very long. You best get going. No time to lose.
What do we got here?
Word for you.
What is it?
Could prove useful, sir.
Okay. Clear threats at the crossroads. Rifts. Camp. Lyrium. There's Redcliffe. Lyrium. Camp. Horsemaster. Let's go clear a rift.
Watch your step.
That's a good idea.
Mother Giselle should be somewhere nearby.
Inquisition forces. They're trying to protect the refugees.
Looks like they could use a hand.
Wrong button. There's a shield bash.
Hold. We are not apostates.
I do not think they care, Seeker. We are not Templars. We mean you no harm.
Doesn't look like they're listening.
Be ready. More coming our way.
Okay then. Dang it. Come on. One left. Oh. Get down on the ground. Ooh, I think that was a cross-class combo.
It's done.
There are mages here who can heal your wounds. Lie still.
Don't touch me, Mother. Their magic is...
Turn to noble purpose. Their magic is surely no more evil than your blade.
What?
Hush, dear boy. Allow them to ease your suffering.
Mother Giselle?
I am. And you must be the one they are calling the Herald of Andraste.
Is that why you asked for me? The Chantry is already...
I know what they've done.
Then why am I here?
I know of the Chantry's denouncement, and I am familiar with those behind it. I won't lie to you. Some of them are grandstanding, hoping to increase their chances of becoming the new divine. Some are simply terrified. So many good people, senselessly taken from us.
What happened was horrible.
Fear makes us desperate, but hopefully not beyond reason. Go to them. Convince the remaining clerics you are no demon to be feared. They have heard only frightful tales of you. Give them something else to believe.
You want me to appeal to them?
If I thought you were incapable, I wouldn't suggest it.
Will they even listen?
Let me put it this way. You needn't convince them all. You just need some of them to doubt. Their power is their unified voice. Take that from them and you receive the time you need.
It's good of you to do this.
I honestly don't know if you've been touched by fate, or sent to help us, but I hope. Hope is what we need now. The people will listen to your rallying call, as they will listen to no other. You could build the Inquisition into a force that will deliver us, or destroy us. I will go to Haven, and provide Sister Leliana the names of those in the Chantry who will be amenable to a gathering. It is not much, but I will do whatever I can.
Thank you, Revered Mother.
Corporal Vale is coordinating the Inquisition's efforts in the area. We should speak with him.
Oh, fast travel. Saga of Tyrder Brightaxe, Avar Mother. Tyrder Brightaxe, dwarf friend chieftain with her leaf-eared lover lay. Woke she did to love sweat, morning, lover gone in light of day. Dream words whispered, spoken soft, still the silence crushed and crashing. Dead her tribe unless a child could keep her line in warrior fashion. Avalvar, so named the lover, called our journey, yours and mine. One day, child of Tyrda's blood, Morganan in strength must shine. Lovers whispers to obey. Hinder, dwarf prince, friend in passion. Babe produced to serve the line. The Alvar tribe her name are taking. Looks like people can level up. Solus. Masters of this school of magic call upon spirits for protection, as well as the essence of the fate itself. Their spells disrupt touch-style magic, create defensive barriers, and even heal injuries. Your aura's tranquility makes enemies less likely to attack you in battle, even when you damage them. Protective barrier springs into place around you automatically when you're badly injured. Sandra. Using techniques preferred by Religion Chevaliers, you can't be flanked by enemies, and you're less likely to be staggered when hit. Varric. You do more damage when firing from elevation. You've learned to pick apart enemies that are still unwounded and wary. You do more damage to enemies that are only lightly injured. Longshot now rips through every enemy along its path, doing bonus damage for every extra target it hits. And then there's me.
You there? Can you help my wife? Please, I beg you.
What's wrong with your wife?
She gets sick when the weather's foul. Can't catch her breath like cobwebs in her lungs. Our son Hindle makes a potion that lets her breathe. He's the only one who can make it, but he's joined that cult in the hills. Please, get to him and tell him what's wrong. Without that potion, she'll die.
Low on Elfroot. Send girl out tomorrow to gather more. Send village boy for her. Fighting closer. Redcliffe closed gates. Refugees staying by crossroads now. Treated refugees. Illness and stomach trouble from eating spoiled food. Burn marks consistent with magic attacks. One elderly refugee had bone sickness, made worse by fleeing village when apostates attacked. More refugee arrivals. Elfroot, spindleweed, low. Treated slash wounds, contusions, internal bleeding. 6 treated, 2 eased to Maker. Reported Templars attacked them as suspicious apostates. Treated frost cough at crossroads. Sent letter to Redcliffe asking for blankets. No response. Widow Tane passed in sleep. Treated hunger shivers at crossroads. More refugees. Burns and contusions. Severe bleeding. Caught in fighting between apostates and Templars. Amputated arm to save girl. Will die without more Elfroot anyway, but too dangerous to gather more. Girl running high fever. Refugees found merchant wagon burning on way at crossroads. Matched old Vinny's wagon. No bodies, but everything in wagon taken. No more supplies coming. Think girl will make it. Use last of Elfroot. Making poultices from whichever I can find. telling refugees to boil anything they eat or drink. Too many sick. Giselle came. Said Inquisition help is not far behind. Fighting outside. Sounds like Templars and mages both. Refugees scattered. Someone outside screaming. Have to help. From a journal belonging to the old healer who lived at the Red Cliff Crossroads and was believed to be killed in the fighting. Who needs my help here?
Redcliffe has seen more than its share of troubles. That the rebellion should play out here.
That's the last of the bread. Going to be a long, hungry night.
These people need food?
There are rams out in the hills. Good eating, cooks easy, and no lords around to kill you for poaching. Too dangerous to go hunting now, though. More likely to find mages than mutton.
Good luck.
Luck won't put fat on your ribs.
Corporal Vale, where are you? Excuse me.
You're with the Inquisition. Corporal Vale, thanks for your help. The Mages and Templars don't seem to care who gets caught in their war. The refugees here are in dire need of help. If the war doesn't kill them, cold or starvation will.
What can you tell me about the Templars?
All the Templars were called to Val Royeaux not long ago. These bastards ignored the order. Now they're killing rebel mages, along with any refugees they think are mage sympathizers. Every Templar I've ever known has wanted to protect the common folk. These men defile their order's good name.
What can you tell me about the rebel mages?
The real rebels are up north in Redcliffe, dug in and taking care of their own. The ones out here are just apostates, locked up in the circles all these years, and now they've gone mad with power. The rebels in Redcliffe have washed their hands of them. I wish we could do the same.
Is there anything we can do to help people deal with the cold?
I asked the Inquisition to send blankets. You'd think I was asking for a wagon of raw lyrium. A recruit named Whittle is trying to make what we can bring in last. If you have any ideas, talk to him across the road.
You were concerned about refugees starving?
Yes. Many of them brought food, but they expected to be home by now, or safe in a city. There's a hunter up the hill who has some ideas.
What other problems do these refugees face?
We've got some injuries that go beyond stitches and elf fruit. I know healers are in short supply, but if you can find someone in Redcliffe to help us, it would save a lot of lives.
What can you tell me about the man who's supposed to be getting horses for the Inquisition?
Horsemaster Dennett. He lives on a farm to the west. Tough old fella. We haven't heard from him. Best we can tell, he's holed up until the Mages and Templars are done killing each other.
Farewell.
And you as well.
Stabilize areas by sealing Fade Rifts, expand the reach of the Inquisition by setting up new camps, and complete quests to gain power and influence. Spend power on scouting operations at the war table to unlock new opportunities. Gaining enough influence increases the rank of your Inquisition and grants you access to unique perks. So basically, expand.
Can I help you with anything?
No.
Farewell.
And you as well.
I'm just a little stuck right here. I want to get this landmark. Okay. I should save and quit. We've been going for almost 3 hours now. We made it to the hinterlands. Next time, we'll explore. We Landmarks. Finding ram meat. Closing rifts. Get the potion for the refugee son. Camps. Lyrium. Horsemaster. A lot of stuff. We need 4 power to get to Valerio. Speak with Dennett. Ram meat. Fade rifts. Camps. The potion. We got field tents. We need lamb's wool and silk. And Storm Coast.
We better.
Well, we'll have to get started next time. Till then, if you like this video, let me know in the comments. If you really liked it, press that cute little like button. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Luke Dog, and I'll see you next time.